Hi, this is Linda, and this is our Talking in American English Lesson 11. I'm trying an approach that I use in class very often. I don't know how well it will work through YouTube, but I'm going to try it once, and if I get good feedback, I can do more of these. It's going to be talking about pictures, and this one is going to be about fishing. I have sets of pictures that I use in class that I bought. However, on YouTube, I don't think I can use them because of copyright laws, so I made my own pictures. I'm not an artist, but I like to draw for fun. So I'm going to use my sequence story. Sequence means one thing after another. This happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and this happens. That's sequence. So I'm going to show you a story with 4 pictures in sequence, the way they happen. And I'm going to give you some vocabulary words to go with it. And then I want you to come up with a story for each of the 4 pictures. And then I will show you one version, one example of how it could have been done. But yours would, of course, be different because you write your own story. In class, I look at the written story, make corrections, give it back, and the students reread it out loud. And then later, when they feel confident, they tell me the story without the paper. I can't really do all of that with you on YouTube, but you'll get the idea anyway. Here we have a series of pictures, 1, 2, 3, 4. They tell a story. Here we have the vocabulary that goes with these pictures, and I have them grouped by nouns. Sometimes the word can be a noun or a verb or something else, but assuming it's a noun. We have man, lake, fish down here, fish, and it is a place. There's water, sky, cloud, mountains, forest, hat. This little guy is wearing a hat. Side, field, flowers, dock. That thing out in the water is a dock, or it can be called a pier, either one. Hook, right here, hook. A fishing line, that's the string that comes down, fishing line. Fishing pole is here, and here, and here. Rocks, weeds, and these are nouns. Now, especially the word fish can be a verb, and you can use it that way if you want to, but this is fish, but he is also doing the action of fishing, so that's a possibility too. Verbs. Go, a form of to be such as is. Here's fish as a verb. Stand. Where is he standing? He's standing here. Okay. Sit. He's sitting here. Drop. Wait. Swim. Decide. See. Pull. Hold. Start. And then these are verbs, but they're infinitives because they have a to in front of them. So because they have a to in front of them, they will not be the main verb, but they can be in the sentence, and they can have a direct object. To catch, to bite, to grab, that's like it's right here, you grab it with your hand, grab it. And to leave, to go away, to leave. These are suggested words to use in the story. So what I would do with my class is, okay, let's look at picture 1, and I'll put it up a little closer. You see picture 1. Describe what you see and what's happening. And you can just say it in your head if you stop the video, you could write it, or you can just try to say what's happening in sentences. Picture 2, now what's happening? How has it changed from picture 1? Usually picture 1 has the most because you're introducing everything. Then there aren't as many things to say about picture 2. So here's picture 2. Think about it. What would you say? Picture 3. Think about it. What would you say? And picture 4. Now think about it. What would you say? Let me turn it this way. That's better. Picture 4. What would you say? Okay. Now in class, this takes a long time because students are thinking and they're looking at the words and they're coming up with a story. So if you look at this, did you use some of these words? Or these words? Or these words? Here's picture 1 possible story that's very simple. And I did it in 2 forms. If it's happening right now, I'm there and I'm watching it. Or if I'm telling about something that has already happened, I would use this form. But it's very simple. Some of my students write very long, beautiful stories about each picture, and beginners write shorter sentences. So this you may have said much more in detail than this one. A man goes or is going to a lake to catch a fish. Now it's okay not to say a because he wants to catch more than one maybe. So he would say to catch fish. Fish is a very general word and it can be plural most of the time. Now the only time I would say fishes is if I'm thinking of many, many different kinds of fish all at the same time. So I would say the fishes in the aquarium, but normally I would just say the fish in the lake, not thinking of many, many different kinds of fish. They're just many fish. So it can be plural, although there is a use for fishes. So the first sentence says that. It is a beautiful place with mountains and a forest on one side of the lake and a field of flowers on the other side. Forest on one side, field of flowers on the other, but a forest, a field, but flowers doesn't need anything in front of it. He stands or is standing on a dock, some may call it a pier, with his fishing pole. There he is with the fishing pole. Now, if I were telling this story in the past, it would go, a man went to a lake to catch a fish or fish. It was a beautiful place with mountains and a forest on one side and a field of flowers on the other side. He stood on a dock with his fishing pole. Okay, present, I'm watching it right now. I can use goes because that's an anytime verb, and right now is anytime, so it could be that. But if I definitely want to say right now, I would change it to is going. Either one works. Because I could be telling this story, but I'm telling it as though it's happening right now, and I could say a man goes. I'm still telling the story. But if I'm standing there watching it happen and telling you what's happening as it is happening, I would say a man is going. So either one works. There's just a little tiny bit of difference in meaning, but it's not that important. Okay, picture 2 now. By the way, was your story similar to that? And if you have questions, since I don't have you in class, I don't know how you can ask me very many questions, but if you have a few questions or want to send me a sentence and say, is this right? I'll be glad to look at that. Okay, picture number 2. Remember this picture number 2 we're talking about. Okay, picture 2 we're talking about. Right now, the man sits, or the man is sitting on the dock. He drops or is dropping his fishing line down into the water. He waits for a fish to bite. Or I could tell the story in the past. The man sat on the dock. He dropped his fishing line down into the water. He waited for a fish to bite. Again, this is a very simple version of the story. There are many other things you could have said. That's just one example. Now, picture number 3. And let me get it up close again. That's the one we're talking about. Okay. If I'm telling it as though it's happening now, a fish in the water sees, or a fish in the water is seeing the bait. It swims, or it is swimming above the rocks and weeds in the water. It decides, or it is deciding, to grab the bait. Grab the bait. If I tell it in the past, a fish in the water saw the bait. It swam above the rocks and weeds in the water. It decided to grab the bait. Now, this is a simpler story than you may have written, but notice the A's and the S on the verbs and things like that. So see, make sure you do those things. And if I could check it, I would. Okay, picture 4. This is picture 4. Okay. I'm not going to win any art awards, but it was fun drawing it. Okay. Picture 4. Now, the man pulls or is pulling the fish out of the water. He is so happy. He holds the fish up proudly as he starts to leave. I added some words so I could show you. You don't have to say exactly the words I use. You can say your own words. Past. The man pulled the fish out of the water. He was so happy. He held the fish up proudly as he started to leave. Okay. So that is our story in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. In order, in sequence. This story, and again, once you've written your story, then see if you can look at the pictures and tell the story without looking at the paper anymore. Okay, and so that's our lesson for today. I'm going to put in a pronunciation section very soon. Watch for a pronunciation lesson coming up very soon. See you later. Bye-bye.